Women's Day is a strange day. Yes, the word boobs, the color pink.
Maybe saying no to the greatest opportunity.
How to react to the Trump tariffs.
But when a woman takes it, I think that's when it is viewed a little differently.
What is it about India that made you stay?
DNA of Reliance that every employee is an entrepreneur.
Who's leading Google? Indian. Who's leading Chanel? Paris? Indian.
I was just promoted like about 5 months back as
What kind of fits that she would fit into, what kind of monies that she carries or she's able to spend.
Because aggression becomes aberration.
Good day, everyone. Zavami is super proud to host all the women leaders of Reliance ecosystem. I'm Kiruba, I head Zavami, and I just wanted you to introduce yourself in a very short way.
I'm Aditi Pani. I am the founder and CEO of Kalara. Prior to Kalara, I've spent more than a decade with Reliance in various leadership positions. Immediately prior to Kalara, I was the COO of Agio.com. And yeah, that's all.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm the creative head for Azort. Many various companies I've worked for previously. I've worked for Myntra, Arvind, worked for the Marks and Spencers, but happy to be here with you all today.
Hi, I'm Renuka Shastri. I had the legal for Reliance Retail Group and previously led the legal team for various companies including Amazon and Intel. Here now since 5.5 years.
Good morning, I'm Zoe. I'm relatively new to Reliance, so only 5 months here. But I've been I found India for 30 years and I've worked across the globe, mainly in UK or US firms. So notably, similar to Sarah, Marks and Spencer there, Gap, online platform, and part of Walmart for a period of time. But super happy to be here and very excited for today.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Aarti, and I've been with Reliance for almost 19 years and have worked in a lot of positions here starting from the trends business, moving to Agio, and then now I head the saris business, which is Avansra and Kalanikethan.
Welcome, Aarti. So, this panel is not another Women's Day panel, and I have invited all the women here only for the sheer reason that you guys have to be celebrated every day, and I think this is a day one for us to bring things together. Zavami revolutionized lingerie shopping in India by breaking deep-rooted cultural taboos around intimate apparel at every growth stage. 2011, when online seems to be very, very fancy, Zavami started selling the niche and toughest category through online, bringing a personalized shopping experience for the women. Zavami shattered fit taboos with tools like size calculators, IP of Zavami, where you don't need a tape to measure yourself. And we have gone inclusive sizing beyond the regular sizing. We have launched a lot of product lines through our brands, a discreet delivery for more comfort for women, and easy returns normalized. Buying without judgment is a main motto for us, while educational content made lingerie discussion cool rather than hushed. These moves empowered women to prioritize body positivity, being shameful about what the product is all about. While the market was trying to westernize, Zavami took a step back and I said, hey, we will launch products for Indian attire. Some of them are like a sari shapewear, a cotton-infused shapewear, a flexi underwire, and a miracle series and blouse bras. While the word bra was still or is still hushed as secret at homes, Zavami launched its first TV commercial calling bras multiple times. The next one was Pair It Right. It's a curated guide designed to match perfect bra, lingerie or shapewear to specific outfits, ensuring comfort and flawless silhouettes. The next one is all about love yourself inside out. We got a real model and we said, inclusive ads to flip sexy to be confident. The next path-breaking marketing event that we have done is Museum of Boobs. Yes, the word boobs to the commercial. It's an innovative campaign. Said, hey girls, not all the boobs are same. Not two boobs of yourself is the same. So check yourself, make yourself well fitted with the lingerie right here. So storytelling normalized through intimate wear via social media, fit studios, and we turned taboo into an empowerment. Zivame sold freedom, not just products. So from online to offline, blended digital and physical, after Reliance came on board, we felt taboos are broken at every stage. So, to add to this growth story, I invite the homegrown leaders here for this event. Women's Day is a strange day. We are appreciated at that day because for 364 days, women are running businesses, making decisions, taking risk, leading teams, building brands, shaping future. And then suddenly for one day, the world passes and say, hey, we celebrate you. At Zivame, we asked ourselves a simple question this year. Do women really need one day? Or does the world need to pay attention every day? That's why I brought people here that we are celebrated every day. And the women sitting here are just not symbols. They are operators, builders, decision makers. They are not part of Women's Day narrative. They are the reason it exists. What makes it even more special is that we are from Reliance ecosystem who's shaping retail business a big way today in India. An organization where women are not just present, we are shaping business, not as a representation, but as a leadership. Today is not about celebrating you, but listening you completely. Thanks for being here. And I'm just going to go into the question seamlessly. So, the first question is, I'll start with Aditi. When was the last time you made a decision that genuinely scared you, and what is it about?
I think I make those decisions very often. I think one of the earliest decisions that I wouldn't say scared me, but far more risk that I've ever taken is the decision to start Kalara in itself. But I think in the process of being a founder CEO, there are decisions that we make, for instance, how to react to the Trump tariffs, or if we have to pivot our business, should we pivot? Should we stay on course? And a lot of those decisions are decisions that are, I would say, almost entirely mine. I don't have the crutch of leaning on a senior management per se. Of course, I can take advice, I can take suggestions, but the decisions, and especially critical decisions that impact the future of the business and the team that I have and the investment that I have sought, rests on those decisions. So I would say that I think I have learned to convert that fear into just a logical breakdown of what the decision entails and the scenarios, and
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Awesome. Sarah.
Wow. I think the decision that scared me the most, I would say it's about 10 years ago, and I'd been offered this absolutely fabulous dream job. And it was in Mumbai, but my daughter wasn't even one. And I remember thinking, and my husband was really supportive, and he's like, go do it, and we can travel, and we can manage. And I remember thinking, okay, let's go for it. And then I thought, I can't miss the first of everything, all those special moments. And I turned that job down, and then I was afraid that I'd never get as great an opportunity, and it was maybe a pivotal back step in my career. And I think I was very scared at that moment. But I think what I realized was, not even a few months later, I got another fabulous opportunity. And I think the reality is when you look at things, I don't look at that as a mistake now. I look at it as actually making a very strong decision. And I think sometimes the best things that you might not take, but it might come back to you in a new form, in a different way. So I think I look at it as sometimes the hardest thing may be saying no to the greatest opportunity.
Great. You juggle the priority.
Yes.
Awesome. Renuka.
I think being a legal, taking decisions is something that day in, day out.
Yeah.
I think a long time back, long ago, the initial days of my career, I was warned from saying yes to things and no to things. I didn't want to become the no department. That was my objective. While saying yes, I had to be very, very sure as to what is it that I'm going to anticipate and whether I'm going to be able to handle this in the future, right? So that calculated risk is something that we have been taking. I think most of the legal people do take that. But when a woman takes it, I think that's when it is viewed a little differently. Because aggression becomes abrasion. That's one word which I picked up 20 years ago when I started my career. That's something that I've been able to handle, trying to explain it's not aggression, but it's aggression,
Aggression.
which always women can always be. I think that's where it is.
Lovely, lovely. Zoe.
So I joined a business, I think it's about 15 years ago now, that was basically a stores business and a catalogue business that was going to be a digital business, okay? So you can imagine that. It's a culture of massive volumes, security, and we were going digital,
All right.
okay? So I had a very lonely 6 months when I was in a hotel room, getting all the data and the strategy. I had an excellent board, but I had to literally take out every single private label that we've been developing and start again. Because I could see it in the numbers, month after month of decline, and justification. But to take the bold step to go in front of your chief exec and say, we need to start again with private shareholders was tough. And it took me months and months. But when I did it, we've all got a huge responsibility to our teams, having our people. But I knew if we didn't make that bold step forward, they wouldn't be in jobs. And actually the reality went from progressive decline to turning the business around and profitability.
Wow.
So it was a fantastic opportunity, but the scariest thing ever.
It's very difficult to stop something that's working and restart everything to make a bigger businesses.
Yeah, I think when you start seeing justification for numbers week after week, month after month, you've got to have the kind of grit and grace to go, something fundamentally is wrong. And what was wrong in the business I was in was that the consumer was changing faster than the business. And teams were showing me product that I was like, I'm not going to wear that ever. Yeah, and they were holding on to history of a certain time of consumer. And we all know the consumer is changing rapidly. And that's what we had to move to. So it was probably a really difficult 6 months and then a really difficult 6 months after that. But since then, the business has flown. So there we go.
Great. That's a good decision. I think.
So for me, it had been moving into doing a category which I'd never done before. Most of my career, I'd worked in exports with men's and women's Western wear. And all of a sudden, moving into doing Indian wear was a very difficult and a fearful move for me, is because I'd never done that category. So taking that plunge and moving to a new city, because I was in my cocoon, which was my home, which was always been the safe zone, and uprooting myself and then moving to a new city into a new business category, I think that was a little fearful, but I took the plunge because the one thing that I thought was that if in India you can't make a category which is so homegrown, which is Indian wear, which no other country does, then there's nothing else that you can do better. So hence I took that plunge, but yes, I was very scared for the reason being that I was moving to a new city because I'd never moved out of Bombay. And then taking up this role in a new category definitely was a challenge that I took it up for myself, saying like, I want to take this up. So yes,
Great.
that's what happened.
That's what you're here. The Rasa brand.
Yes.
Lovely you took the decision. So we have a biggest category
Oh.
or a private label for India.
No.
Yes. Straight away to the second question. I'll start with Aditi. What part of Women's Day do you really or personally not relate to anymore?
I think there's several elements to Women's Day. Definitely the color pink.
It's all over there.
Pink, Aditi, that's not women pink.
For me, Women's Day is about acknowledging that differences still exist in our society, in the world. But at the same time, there has been tremendous progress. I think every year, every day, we see more and more examples of men and women in equal standing. I think that is the real spirit of it.
Yeah.
I think anything else that is cliched or stereotype is definitely cringe, but as Gen Z would say. But I think we are definitely seeing distilling of more real stories
True.
coming forward.
Yeah.
As more conversations like this happen and go out there in the world.
Great. So pink is something you don't relate.
Have you ever seen Aditi wear a pink? Never.
So Sarah,
Well, I like pink.
how can a creative head not like pink? All right. So what you don't relate to today's Women's Day celebration?
See, if I'm honest, I'm completely fine with Women's Day. I think anything, even if it's badly done and that's done genuinely, that highlights women and empowers and talks about the hidden struggles or anything like that, done with any meaning is okay by me. But I think you're right. I think what you both said is we start the conversation today, but the conversation has to happen every day.
True.
So, that's my thoughts.
All right. Renuka.
I like Women Day every day.
Fabulous.
Yeah, but only thing is, I think we need to do more, and it should not become a discount or a sale event day. That's how I view this. It should be more of how to empower women, and maybe the the sale or the discount that goes will have to be as a catching point for people to come together, women to come together, and explore so many things that could be enabling them. That's how I see it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
I think if it's done authentically, it's fantastic. And I think this is authentic. So this feels really good because it's connectivity and it's a celebration. I think that some companies just use it as a moment in the critical path of the diary. And it's like it flags up and then you see all these posts on and you're like, really? Yeah.
All right.
I think the conversation, though, needs to be deeper and richer. And it's not, as your point, it's not about one day. It's about continual. And it's also, I think it's great being with very senior women here, but the new voices coming through to me are much more inspirational. Yeah. We've managed to get to this platform, but it's the people who are coming through. I want to hear from them. I love it when it's kind of reverse mentoring or you've got the more junior people. I think that's what we've got to propel more. But I think having genuine conversations like today is great. And we need to do more of it, because if not, we would not have spent time out on a Friday. We just wouldn't.
Absolutely.
We're too busy.
This is a brilliant day out. I agree.
And there needs to be more of that.
Yeah. Aarti, tell me what you don't relate at all.
See, this one day of celebration is what I don't relate to. There has to be this constant understanding that we are part of this universe and the world. We stand equally in doing what we do currently. In fact, women have moved up and moved parallelly in a lot of fields and areas. So just this one day of celebration doesn't account for all of that we've done so far. It's not been a one-day struggle. It's been over the years and generations of generations, people and women have actually come where they've come today. So hence, one day of celebration is not something that I agree upon, but I'm thinking a reminder or a daily respect or appreciation or what kind of standing the one woman has achieved is what I think should be celebrated on a long term.
Lovely, lovely. That brings me to the next question. So, at what point did you stop feeling like a woman in a room and start feeling like a decision maker in the room? And what allowed that shift to happen in a boardroom for you, Aditi?
Yeah, I think I will admit that I think I'm probably from a privileged background. I went to a women's boarding school, which was very progressive. And I think from that place of privilege, I have not viewed myself as the woman in the room only.
Right.
I think there are many other identities
You had.
that I've held in different rooms. And I think that's how I perceived myself. Have there been situations where others may not have perceived me like that? Yes. I think I'm in a B2B business, and sometimes when I'm meeting with clients and I'm with colleagues, and I think there's an element of me being a bit younger as well. So they may, if they don't know who the CEO is in the room, they may first actually look at an older man. But I have to admit that in the context of Reliance, I have unequivocally never faced it. Never felt like the woman in the room. I'm, I think that's great.
That's a brilliant moment,
Yes.
right? Sarah, did you have that feeling?
No, I've not had that feeling either. I think maybe I'm a bit too bossy for that. But no, I think, I've always been brought up that, my opinion counts. Wherever I choose to stand, there's a right to have that opinion and be that way. And I think I've been lucky enough to sort of not be in those environments. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. I'm
Lovely.
lucky like you.
I think I'll keep going back to the legal because
Very male
that's something.
dominated.
That's something
industries,
where
isn't it?
people think, especially for a legal head, they talk about diversification for this role because they can find more women for legal profession. But at the same given point of time, when you go to the boardroom, the at par treatment kind of comes only when we talk business sense, only when we talk about numbers, right? That's the shift which actually made a lot of changes for me. And maybe because of my educational backgrounds, maybe because of the kind of professional degrees that I hold, it is not about yes or no, but it is about how, why, and what are you going to do. The moment women talks about numbers, if they're not in business, the shift does happen. That's the shift that I have seen.
Got it. Lovely.
Look, I'm sure we all have been some intimidating boardrooms over the years. That said, it goes up to how you bring up your children, I think. And I had a very strong father, and I'm a mother of a boy, not a girl, but I do think that's so important that I was brought up to be strong and have a voice and have an opinion. And therefore, however intimidating it is, if you're true to your core and you know that it's right, then you say something. So yes, there have been examples of intimidating people, no question. That could be male or female, by the way. This isn't about a male or a female. Some females have probably you've had many worse bosses who are female than male, I have to say. So let's not make it a kind of, a stereotypical conversation, because that isn't true and fair. Yeah. But you've got to be grounded to get to the top, in terms of you've got to be able to have an opinion and hold it lightly and listen and be inclusive. But I do think, for anybody who's going to have children or families, make sure you teach them from as soon as they can talk, have confidence in your own voice. And I have to say, Reliance have been fantastic to me and my family, and never have I felt it at all. Super supportive through coming here, moving here, meeting people, have just been deeply impressive. So if we can take that forward, then we should attract so many more people and so many more women and men to do fantastic jobs, and that's what it's about for me.
Lovely. I think confidence have no gender.
Completely. and as soon as they're born, teach them confidence, because that is so important.
Yeah.
So believing in yourself is so important, and that's from anybody throughout, and that's a global thing. It's like, just parent well, look after them.
Great. Ati.
So I won't say it's not been a difficulty for me, because I think they're pretty young, and I think this is the next generation. A lot of them, I would say that. But it has been in the initial years when we started off, like I'm talking about years and years ago, when you would be the only woman in the room, right? And it would be difficult for you to even start a conversation, because people wouldn't always listen to you. But as you start rising, and rightfully said, so when you have details and data, and when you talk sense, and when you start proving yourself, is when people start taking note of it as well. And that's how you will start creating your stand in wherever you are, right? Even if it's a room full of men, and you know what you have done and can voice it or talk about it, then I think there's nobody going to stop you from talking. So,
Lovely.
but it does happen. So nothing new about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the confidence facts,
absolutely.
part of business,
Yes.
I think is, none of you have felt it, I think. I mean, like, you've been a boss completely. Right, I'm going to step away from being leader and like a leadership role. And I'm just going to ask you some question related to the taboo or a very niche businesses, especially like an intimate wear, right? Why? Because this is so intimidating to talk, and I wanted you to open up a conversation so that it becomes a normal today for everybody. So over past decade and more, brands like us have played a big role in opening up conversations around intimate wear in India. from your perspective, what is the relationship, or how have you seen the women's relationship with this category changing? It could be any niche category, I'm just starting with lingerie being a very intimidating category to start, because me being a CEO, I can't open a Zivami.com on an airport. Men gaze at me, hey, what are you looking at? Because I look at product, but they look at bodies there, right? That's different. So what do you think the conversation, or what do you think that women's relationship with category right now?
I think I would say that I'm happy to see at least one aspect of the conversation around intimate wear and lingerie move very significantly towards comfort from romantic sexual appeal, and that kind of that's important too. But I think just there's been so much innovation around comfort for our bodies and our activities and our movement, and I think that's been a very exciting shift in the industry.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Beautifully picked. I think it's no more
Taboo.
taboo, and it's all about the body. It's all about the comfort a woman need more than for someone else. It's for herself, right? Sarah, do you want to comment on it?
I agree. I think it's no longer taboo. I think today the younger generation are really, really comfortable with that category and very vocal. I mean, a lot of the time when we're doing a range and I've asked the kids feedback and I'm like, what do you think of this? And it's so interesting the way everybody reacts differently. Like some kids will be like, God, I don't even wear a bra. I'm all nipple pasted. So people are really comfortable and it's not taboo like it used to be. So I think that's great, and everybody chooses to do it how they want to do it. I think it's the younger generation now is so modern and fresh and awake that they're very comfortable with everything.
Yeah,
so
very
it's
expressive.
time. Very expressive.
Yeah. Priyanka, you have something to add? Yeah?
I think during my school days, we were introduced to sanitary pads. Now we are talking about the shapes and the comforts of bra. That itself is a huge shift.
Absolutely.
So I think we may have to kind of make it more comfortable to talk about it. What is the fit? And also now that we are entering into the stage of being leaders, which means we have crossed a certain age. I think that's also something that we need to focus on. What's the comfort at different age, and what do you really want, right? I wouldn't want to wear an underwear now at this given point of time, and I would say it's not about shape, it's about comfort. I think that's the transition it can happen, and I see that's happening. And whatever the cliched discussions are all coming out, I mean, we are out of those restrictions while we're talking about it.
Lovely. Yeah. You have to add something? All right.
No, I mean, look, it's just, I think the world is just becoming more confident.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah said beautifully, these generations who are coming through are so different and we can't be judgmental or patronising. Yeah, we've just got to be open and listen to what the consumer wants, get the data behind it. But my few months of actually living in India has gone, it's just such a global playground now. Such a global playground. And we've got the most high-tech country on the planet where everyone is so digitally savvy and information is at their pulse.
Yeah.
You've just got to go forward and be fearless.
Great. Okay.
So I think, yes, the conversation around intimate wear has opened up quite a bit. Like people are talking about it. The girls are talking about it. There is no more fear of saying, oh, I am going... Online shopping is happening. No? Earlier it was like, okay, do I shop online? People are not used to doing... going and shopping themselves as well. The young girls wouldn't go shopping. The mothers would usually go shop for them. But now the girls are taking that forward and shopping for themselves, going into stores. So it's this comfort around shopping of lingerie is what has opened up for a lot of girls to not feel it's like a taboo or it's something that I'm not comfortable about. And also the feeling that I am not worried about how I look, how I feel, what is my size has gone out of the window. So there is availability of sizes for a woman to be able to pick and choose for herself. A girl can go and shop for herself without having to feel that, oh, is somebody watching over my shoulder? So those things have actually opened up for the girls to go shop comfortably. opened up conversation between girls and women. In fact, conversations between mother and daughters have opened up as well.
Absolutely.
And that I think is a bigger thing than anything else, is because earlier it would not be so. So the times have changed, the lifestyle has changed, the whole ecosystem for around lingerie and intimate wear has changed, which I think is a good thing. And it has given everybody, like you, there are a lot of lingerie brands that have come into as well, right? So Zivame, I think, was one of the earlier ones which came in with a lot of different kind of style and products, which gave the girl the comfort to say, oh, I don't need to have one size or a one style fits all. I can also look for different varieties and variations of designs to wear under different kind of product categories. Like if I'm wearing a sleeveless dress or if I'm wearing a backless top, they've brought in that kind of product categories which help the girl to today decide for herself what she and how she needs to wear what.
Lovely, lovely to
I
hear.
think the transition happened long time ago. When I used to go with my mother, the person who used to sell the bra used to be a man.
Yes.
Used to be
I
men in
was
the
just
shop.
thinking the exact same.
Yes.
They used to tell us what was comfortable and what we should wear.
And the size without
And the
even
size
you
without-
telling them.
So if the kind of those conversations were already there.
Yeah.
I think we have transitioned here because back home our mothers have enabled,
Yes.
right? And the organizations have enabled for us to come forward and say, okay, this is what I want. It's the transition. Everything has got its own transition and its own period
Yes.
to get transition. I think we are already there.
Yeah, I so agree with her.
Lovely, lovely.
I
I think
just
even
say one thing on the same subject, because I was just thinking the exact same thing. And it was so weird because I think even at our age, you don't think we evolve either.
Yes.
Not that we're that old, but when I first came to India and I was served by a man, and I was like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. And I was like, really? Why would there be men serving us lingerie? And then now today I'm like, well, actually, what does it matter? I mean, so maybe I was a bit sexist to myself back then.
They're the best salesmen.
Yeah.
They were the best salesmen at that point in time.
yeah, I love your genuine feedbacks and comments. In fact, I think at home it has become very easy right now.
Yes.
I mean, like, daughters asking dad to buy a sanitary pad, or daughters putting their lingerie in the cart of a dad or a mother saying, hey, buy for it, or it could be brother. I think it has become slightly open right now, like what she really mentioned. I think young generation are very expressive. Hey, it's a product and it's what I need. Please buy it, go ahead. So I think we have really transited and really came a long way there. So Renuka, asking you a question, because if I ask the younger generation, which profession do you want to choose? There's a craze about law, legal, corporate, foreign trade, everything related around law. So you really have evolved in the legal space and being a very influential leader right now. What is a career path that you would advise for a young girl or a boy who wants to really seek legal?
One is there at my home now, writing his 10th grade. He was very clear that he didn't want to become a doctor, not an engineer, no pilot. We gave him a lot of options. He said, no, nothing. Then I said, then the only path that your amma can see is your amma's path. That is becoming a lawyer. But then, it makes a lot of difference, because lawyer or the legal department is still, in some organizations, are viewed as yes or no department. They become a formality stamp at the end. Did the legal approve this? No. That's where even the team in Reliance, right? They're enabled to an extent that they can make that risk call. And for that, I think the training will have to happen. It's not just about legal. It's about how you're shaping your career, being a person who knows law, right? So there was an initiation that was done in one of the MBA college. They said, can you come and just tell our MBA students what is law all about, why it is important while they run their business, what is the law going to talk about. So that's where it is. I think for legal person, it's more important to know numbers, more important to understand profitability, and be one of them on the table and talk about being a partner and not just an enabler. There was a time when during my younger days, they used to tell me, Renuka, you need to be an enabler, but now I talk as a partner. And that's what has been encouraged at Reliance also. The moment you talk about what is the business you're supporting and a detailed understanding about it,
It's all
it will
very
fall
nice.
in place. It's not magic.
Did law or the study has shaped up in various ways? I mean, like from the time that you studied to right now. I mean, like,
Definitely.
is it really, taken a multiple streams and are we
Definitely.
specializing?
Definitely. So, for example, previously they used to ask us whether you're practicing criminal or civil.
That's all.
Right? And I was a company secretary also by then, and then I was like, no corporate. Similarly, there are multiple options that are coming up, and I'm asking my son to look at the finance courses also, along with being a lawyer, and that really makes a lot of difference. It's a combination, right? Law is common sense. This is what the first sentence comes out of my mouth whenever I'm going to teach students in their colleges. I do this guest lecture. Law is common sense. The moment you know the common sense, which is the side of the things that it is supposed to be on the right side of the things always. The moment you know this is the right side, and then comes the additional evaluations that will make you take a decision and influence a decision, right? You might have come across, you'd be like, are you sure, Renuka, can we do this? And I would have said, it's okay, Kiruba, go ahead and do this. It's okay. There are some calculations that comes because of legal and because of certain other aspects like business, certain other aspects like, what's the profitability involved and the spend, right? So I don't think legal is only about contracts. Legal is only about, now that we are talking about AI more and more, it's not just about contracts, but it is about sitting on the table, trying to contribute and contributing as a person, not just as a legal person. While we are protecting the organization from the risk, but also enabling and being the partner.
Yeah, I have seen it in multiple instances because we had a lot of things that we discuss. She will say legally this is right, but if you think business wise, this is how you need to be protected. So lovely. I think that's a
Thank
great
you.
thing. Yeah. So Aditi, coming to you, you have built something for your own after building Agio. You had some playbook for Agio, I'm sure, but when you built Kalara, you never had a playbook. So what made you do this? And what part of your journey you felt, hey, I think I have to create my own playbook and this is it and it's working fine. So
I guess what made me do it is a combination of various experiences I had prior to that. I mentioned I was in a women's boarding school, very progressive. I was a student leader, as we were discussing earlier, the first woman president of the Students' Union at BITS Pilani. And I worked actually in the social impact space very early in my career. Went to business school at Stanford, where there is they inculcate this spirit of change. Organizations change the world, like change and drive that. And then I think through my time here at Reliance, I had the opportunity to start Agio, which was pretty much the first online business within, much like what you shared, a brick and mortar retail business. And I think it was a culmination of all of that, the experiences I gained through the way, the things that motivated me. And I think that culminated to say that, okay, I've done all of these things. I know what I think I'm good at. I know what I'm probably not so good at. And I wanted to build something that can scale, which Reliance is really good at, while driving impact, which I think motivates me tremendously. And I'm actually quite grateful that Reliance decided to take this bet on me. And I think the combination of that gave me the confidence to just take that plunge and set out on this uncharted path. And I think the way I've taken it is because there wasn't a playbook, like you rightly said, is essentially react to what I'm seeing and build iteratively, which is a different way of building as opposed to, Reliance understands the in and out of a model, plans intensively, then proceeds to launch. But the approach I took was, we don't know the answers, so let's put ourselves out there, see the reaction, iterate, and again, sort of build as we go along. And I think that is sort of the path that, has worked. And I guess the other thing that I've tried to do is definitely leverage a lot of what Reliance has to offer. And I think I'm doing more of that especially in the last year, given the geopolitical situation. And, and that has definitely helped tremendously.
You want to elaborate what Kalara does so that we can really connect? I mean, like, what a lovely narrative you have. I don't have a playbook. I have to go forward. I will do. I will react. I will reiterate. Then I'll really move ahead.
Sure.
And I still do things in a way.
Sure. So I mean, obviously, having worked for over 10 years in the fashion and lifestyle space, having seen both the brick and mortar side of the business as well as e-commerce, and wanting to make an impact, I kind of combined all of that to say that, hey, domestic commerce, domestic e-commerce and retail D2C commerce has significantly grown in the last decade. And my bet was that cross-border commerce would also see significant growth. It's a natural evolution, especially when the domestic economy does well, domestic manufacturing grows with it. And that creates an opportunity from a global economy standpoint. All brands like Marks and Spencer's and others started in their country, but have since expanded globally. So the opportunity I saw was to, sort of build in that cross-border lifestyle space. And I decided to start in the B2B space because it's just more efficient from a logistics standpoint. And then hopefully also, evolve into other cross-border opportunities, leveraging what Reliance has to offer.
Lovely, lovely.
And I think it's also more about Reliance, the free hands they give and the way they enable. I don't think they make us feel that we are women and we are taking those decisions, because especially to explore something new, we set our path and we try to explore and we try to say that this is what is, that we want to go take it as a way forward for our organization and also culture. That's what makes us more owning up the decisions and also try to move forward.
Lovely, lovely. I think she's a right example, like from an employee to an investee, backed completely. I think that's where the spirit lies.
They see an entrepreneur in every employee. That's the mindset that I have seen.
Lovely.
I agree.
Yeah, Aarti with 19 years of experience saying agree, we agree too. Aarti, coming to you, right? You said you were thrown into a challenge of handling a menswear into a women's Indian wear, where I have not done it. Have you realized that you have created such a big brand, Avasa, such a big brand? I mean, like I don't want to quote a number because it's such a big brand. I mean, like anybody who asks Avasa, people would know. I know it is available within the format. When you're shaping up a brand at a scale, how do you balance staying true to the women already love while still pushing them and the brand forward? I mean, like you have to do things differently to ensure that you reach that scale. So what have you done?
See, the first thing is that most people who start building brands or think about brands is mostly out of the passion for that product or they like it. I took up this category as a challenge is because I had never done it. But being in an ecosystem which is Indian and Indian wear not being able to scale is something I wouldn't want to believe in.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I looked into was, who's the customer? Which is your customer? And I was always of the opinion, I am not my own customer. I need to first understand who's the woman who comes into my store to buy the product. first we did all of the analysis in terms of understanding your customer, her profiling, what is her likes, dislikes, and then looking at what we want to actually build for her in terms of the product category. When I came in, it wasn't called Avasa, it was called another brand. So we said, like, first of all, the woman has to resonate with the brand name itself to be able to understand whether she associates with it or not. So, okay, let's understand it. Took an understanding to the level that her size, what kind of fits that she would fit into, what kind of monies that she carries or she's able to spend, what kind of color combination she likes. And India is a vast country, right? It has different kind of cultures and different kind of acceptance to product categories. So it was difficult, or rather different, for us to be able to understand whether what works in the south will work in the north, whether what works in the north will it work in the east and the west. So we did an entire 360-degree view of the product category into each consumer aspect of the woman whom we were making it for. And then we got into doing the designing part of it and doing the fit part of it and saying, like, okay, this is what we're going to build for her. And that's how we actually started the whole category. It's not only just one thing coming on the table, it's everything and everyone coming together. The design team coming and contributing to it, the sourcing team coming and contributing, the buying coming. Everyone was involved to the level that saying, like, we need to make this happen. And that's how we actually built that brand. And then we said, okay, let's name it something that everybody will like. So that's how that came into Avasa. Yeah.
Coming to Avantara, because now you head Avantara after launching a big brand, Avasa. To me, I always feel India, every 250 kilometers is a different country.
Yes,
the food changes, the language changes, the dressing changes, the way we address people changes. I mean, like, in such vast, diverse nation, a sari business is not a joke. You know, I mean, like, here, if you see, we're very different. Three sari wearers, we all have a different taste, we all have a different way to wear. How are you managing Avantara? And what is your formula to really do it better? Or you're doing it better? How are you cracking the code? How did you crack the code?
It's the same thing. It's again not one size fits all. Like in your regular apparel, you would have sizes and style that could be sent across a lot of multiple stores. Saris is not like that. Saris is a very different ballgame. Every store could have a different assortment because your catchment is different, your customer profiling is different, the preference of the customer is very, very different. The usage occasions are very different. So in a sari, you don't have like a season, like a spring, summer and an autumn, winter. But what you have is your festive, what you have is wedding. These are important areas that we look into. Saying what are the new occasions the occasions that are going to be coming forward that we need to look into. Every region, like you will see the women in the north drape saris or wear saris very differently versus the women in the west or the south. It's exactly the same thing. Women has a very different preference across the country. So hence, how do you cater to it? You have to actually know the nerve of the customer whom you're catering to be able to say, like, okay, in my assortment in the south, I will have 60% of, say, Kanjivaram saris or a south silk saris or Mysore silk saris, and maybe another 20% of, say, Banarasis or Patola or any of the other categories like a Maheshwari, Chanderi and all of that. So those preferences are drawn basis where the stores are located, what is the customer preferences going to be like, how are we going to cater to them, because we source from across the country. We have vendor base all across the country. And basis that we decide how the stores are going to behave and how we're going to, what merchandise is going to go into which store.
Lovely. So keeping consumer at the center.
Absolutely. It's always going to be the consumer at the center.
Absolutely. So coming to you, Zoe, moving from a home to a different country itself is a great challenge. Getting into a consumer business, especially where you don't know the consumer, how do you see India today, and how do you see India consumer, and what do you think really can be changed, or what do you think can be really challenged in the Indian space?
That's a huge question, isn't it? So firstly, yes, firstly it's International Women's Day, okay, and a really important thing for me and for us and for the generations who we're talking to is the world is a global space, okay? And we've not all had the privilege to travel, but I've had the privilege to travel and have worked globally. And am incredibly curious about life generally and people. Now, I do not know India like you guys know India. There's no question. I've been here a few months, yeah? But what I can see and what I know, and if I look at what's happening on the global stage and how pivotal India is, and I don't know if you saw at the conference a couple of weeks ago, the AI conference, where Macron talked about who are the great leaders. Yeah? And everybody. Who's leading Google? Indian. Who's leading Chanel in Paris? Indian. Yeah? Phenomenally smart people, more literate than I've ever known, data savvy. The energy here is palpable. The only time I got slightly concerned is when I put on CNN or the BBC News. I'm like, oh, what's happening in the West? Right? Seriously, I turn on the news. I'm like, we're going slightly mad. Okay, so I think I'm on a learning curve and a journey, but what I'm seeing, particularly because I'm focused on a Gen Z customer. It's true. Yes, because I'm not focused on an older customer. I'm listening to them and I'm hearing a very different story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think we've all got to keep our ears very open to the generations who are coming up because they're well educated and savvy. And India is exploding. You know, the youth customer, the energy, and backed by, as you said, you know, how Reliance can scale businesses is phenomenal. And I think people who don't know and haven't actually lived in India need to wake up. Because sometimes people say, I think that is not the India I know. And I'm living here, okay? But it's only a plane ride away. The world is global. And I just, and the spirit of International Women's Day, it's really hard moving country and you've got to learn a lot. But hopefully I can bring some business balance in terms of also what is super successful in other businesses. And they might be US businesses, they might be businesses in China, they might be businesses, it doesn't matter. Right? The same metrics spin out the number.
Yeah.
And it's about having super capable people who know who their consumer is. And certainly those who I think are smart now are the generations coming through who know the consumer is tomorrow. Because it's not going to be always it's not about just senior leadership. Who are we facing in tomorrow? So
lovely. Chasing
so like
metrics.
you said about the youngsters. So even in our business, you see how we drape saris versus how the younger generation is draping it is very, very different. They're actually modernizing the whole outlook of saris. Similarly, that there's this shift happening in the youngsters as well, in all aspects actually, everywhere.
Yeah.
So rightfully said so.
True.
Yeah, they're speaking a different narrative.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think chasing metrics and keeping consumer at the center. I think the world is very small. It's easy to really come out of the shell and do everything and anything that you can think. Yeah. So Sarah, I know I can call you partial Indian because you lived with us for more than 15, 16 years. I think 19 years you mentioned it to me. So what is it about India that made you stay? Right? And how has this market shaped you as a creative leader?
Okay. So, well, let's talk about why I came. So, I mean, India is so fast-paced and dynamic, and it's one of the largest creative economies. So I definitely came for the career-wise and for a specific role that I've been employed for. But if you've asked me why I've been here 19 years and why I've stayed, it's definitely the people. I think there's a real community. And I can give so many examples on so different levels, whether it's every woman around here today, working in Reliance, in senior levels, you've all helped me out with things, whether it's creating a brand, whether it's launching a new department, whether it's a million things you've helped me out with. So, so it's amazing that at this level, I mean, it's very easy to not support other people and be competitive, but everybody that I've worked with is very, very supportive. And in terms of, the team, we might give them a ridiculous challenge. And it's not because of me, it's just because genuinely people are lovely. They'll be like, okay, we'll get it done. We'll close it. There's nothing we can't do. We'll learn AI by tomorrow. We'll do it on AI. Yes, we can do this. We can do anything. So, and then in terms of just generally people, when I first came to India, I think everybody took me to their home, and cooked me food and helped me feel comfortable. Whether it was when my father passed away and before I got back from the hospital, all my neighbours were at the door and the people from the office had come. So I think it's about people. And I think in terms of me, as we said, India is so vast. There's so many languages. There's so many cultural differences between people. So I think as a leader, it's made me listen more carefully, be more sensitive, be better, and really realize that it's not the job or the role, it's the people that you're with. So that's probably the easiest thing to say.
No, I mean, so many clues that you have given us, right? It's like listening. That's a very, very important trait of a leader. That's how you really become a creative leader, when you really have not seen what an Indian woman would listening. That's something that I wanted you guys to narrate Reliance journey within yourself. How have you, you know, did that entire path and you're still there? What do you think gave you that confidence? What do you think gave you that upper hand to grow to this level? I mean, like, we all know statistically, we were discussing that, leader as a woman is still lesser compared to male. The progression is, of course, there. So what is that couple of things that have really made you a part of Reliance, and what has given you that scope completely? I mean, like, I'm opening to the floor. You can start, whomever wants to start.
Actually, I don't mind starting. So I've been with Reliance 8 or 9 years now, and I think, I think, isn't there a rule that you should never stay at a company longer than 7 years? I think, but you know what? Because it keeps throwing such exciting opportunities at you.
Yes,
so I remember I joined Agio with you guys, and it was like, wow, I think we want 18,000 options. It's crazy. And I was like, oh my God, what have I come to? And then, creating whole new brands, and then, launching Gazort and working on something, because we're going to have the best fast fashion brand in the whole of India and the world. I mean, it's just such exciting opportunities, and the people, the people are just absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a great culture, I think. So, yeah, so a bit of a love heart for Reliance.
Oh. I think I want to go.
I think I've talked a little bit about my journey already, but I think, I mean, I genuinely mean it. It's not cliched, but I feel like there are a few people who definitely, enabled a set of opportunities, or, just that nudge that you need. I would definitely say Akhilesh. I think he's someone who, gave me opportunity, and many of us, I think, opportunities in new areas that maybe was, something we hadn't done before. I think in my case, since I'm also an investee, like you said, I think, MMSA was phenomenal. And I think, maybe sometimes people don't realize it from the outside when they look at Reliance, and sometimes there is this perception. But I think both chairman and, MM Sir, and I think they were incredibly supportive. And I think I wouldn't have been able to take this journey in this kind of a relationship with Reliance without that degree of support. So I would say, when I look back, there is definitely a few people who, had kind of unblinking support and confidence in you, maybe more so than I had in myself. And that made a massive difference.
Lovely. Support and confidence from
Absolutely.
your
I think when I was joining Reliance 5.5 years ago, I was asked, are you sure? Because you come with an MNC background and you're going to an Indian company, right? It was during COVID. On top of it, I had to work from home and I didn't know anyone. But the kind of comfort I was given to transition, right? Today, Reliance is my home, and it's an extended family, or probably I can call it as it is family to me. Every leader and every employee, they have that warmth in them, right? And it's not just about work. Like I said, it is in the DNA of Reliance that every employee is an entrepreneur, and then they have an opportunity, business opportunity that's running on their mind, and they have that freedom to come and express, talk to the leaders, and then grow well within the organization. The transition that I could have was tremendous. I've built the team from the scratch, the legal team from the scratch, and the enablement of understanding what is the new idea that the legal department would want and should be encouraged is something that they were very open. And I even had my third child, and they were like, "It's okay, you can focus on your child." That's also something that I have seen. Encouraging a woman to focus on family is very, very important, and that's something that I even saw, during the Deepavali Utsav, that we were asked to focus on our family, and family comes first.
Yeah.
That is an advice which comes from the top leaders and the apex leaders. That's very, very encouraging and very warm feeling that fills in our hearts. That's what is the journey for me in Reliance. It's not just about work. It's not just about what we are trying to enable, but also how we are growing in the organization and in our personal life. What are we doing? I mean, I have been given so many opportunities to take it back home. So I've been told that there will never be a day that I will not have teenage in my house, in the family, because one is in teenage, the second one will come, and then the third one, and then the first child's kids will become
grandchildren.
That's the level of gyan I've been given in my office. I mean, at my workplace, that Renuka, your hands will be full, so you need to kind of manage how you're going to handle all
Lovely.
of the
So
work.
I think work-life balance have really given you a
they
great
do
scope
give
here.
a lot of importance to work-life balance.
Lovely. What about you? What do you think?
I think there's you just expressed it really well. There is a warmth about the business, and when you're looking at it from an outsider's perspective coming in, this is somebody who's been here a few months, you look at the scale of the business, and every day it's enormous, but actually it really is a family. And when you watch how hard the senior team work and what it means, even though it's a very, very different conversation you'd have in a lot of corporate conversations across the globe. It really is that kind of that care and that diligence and that wanting to win. I mean, the ambition is just enormous. And with that, that's some hard work, right? That's real grit and grace. But you talk about women, you need the balance, don't you? But there is a sense of warmth. I had to go home recently for something, and it's very calm in that. As in, you've just got to take care of your family first, and then you come back and you do the real work. And that, I think, gives us all. You want the business to win, because when that care is there, it's so important. But for me, the biggest sense I've had is, particularly with family, is just the humility. This isn't about somebody not being on the day job. They are absolutely on it.
Yeah.
And I think the world needs to watch and keep your eyes open, because,
What a touching words you have said. Humility, care, ambitions, everything is like $1 million word. Lovely. Aarti?
Okay, so for me also, more or less, most of the people over here have said this. Girls have already said the right things that even I have encountered, right? But there's also one more thing, is trust. They trust you when they see that you have the potential to take things forward, and they feel that you have the capability of driving things to the next level. They give you the opportunity. It's never been a time when I have gone forward and said like, okay, I want to do this. And if I put my voice and said like, this is how I'm going to do it, and I've been told, no, you can't. It's always like, you try it, see how it goes, and we'll take it forward from there. So it's the trust that they have in you. They make you build it within yourself to say like, you will be able to do it.
Lovely.
So it's always been that way. It's never been another way saying that, no, you can't do it, or whether, like rightfully said, it's like a family. After you've been in this organization for years, it becomes a second family. You are spending the entire day in this office for like say 8-9 hours in the office. You're definitely going to be more close to people around you, and you'll know how each one is. And then it becomes all these words that these girls have used, they resonate for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I have to just add, empathy to this entire list because I was just promoted like about 5 months back as CEO, and I go to my boss, who is AP, and I said, I'm pretty young. I have folks who are with me. Can I take it up? He said, why not? And why would you even doubt? And he said, I know you're young. Let me empathize. You really can twist the world very quickly because you really can take care of it. That's one. And Subbu sir, of course, he called me. He said, hey, I'm very happy. I know you will reach here very soon. And just a call away. Anytime. Just call me. You're stuck. I'm available. Availability is something that they
They're
make
always.
us. Yeah, always.
Agree.
They have a very pretty packed schedule. But yeah, while picking up these cues, this is all that a superior or a boss or a manager should have, right? So that's why I'm picking all of these words that should really be heard by every leaders in every organization, that this is something that they should do. I'm going to put you in slightly an uncomfortable question, right? The last question before I do a closing. The job 9 to 5, I think has been historically designed for a men because they were in a job and women were not in a job. We were a caregiver. We were taking care of a family. Historically, that's when they said, hey, 9 to 5 is good. Go, hit hard, come out at 5 o'clock. Do you think with women force coming in play in a larger thing, I know it's a very wrong question to Reliance, but I'm going to touch upon this because is a flexible job going to be an answer for a woman? Or 9 to 5 is perfectly for a woman? What is your take? How do you think the space of work have to change for women?
I guess work and the nature of work has to evolve with generations. I think not just for women, but the way we, our lifestyles. And I think it can't just change for women.
Yeah.
It must work for all of us to be productive, men, women, older people, and so on and so forth, for all of us to be productive. India's, labor force is extremely low compared to other advanced economies, and that is actually where the most significant economic growth can come from. And I think thanks to COVID, there's definitely been a bigger acceptance of flexibility in how we work, where we work from, what hours we work. As Zoe mentioned, it's an increasingly globalized world. So what time we work is certainly not bound by, 9 to 5. I think it's inevitable. I think it has to happen. I think bits and pieces of it are already happening. And I think it comes back to trust, right? How do you build a culture of trust and accountability and, enable that to
Absolutely.
be
Yeah,
a reality.
I think it's become a part of a life, isn't it?
Yeah.
For me, I can pick up a phone and I can do a meeting by 9 if it really demands, and I can really take a break if I really need to take a break. I think it's become an integral part that you own up that as part of your life. Renuka, you have something.
Kiruba, I don't have a single day. When I'm at home, I'm not thinking about work. And when I'm at work, I'm not thinking about home. Okay? It's the kind of balance each one of us are supposed to strike that balance, right? At the same given point of time, it is how flexible or how open an organization is to enable a person, not just women, but also men, to work and also be efficient at work and be responsible at home. That's the balance. If an organization is enabling that balance for each of the person, that is where it starts. I think this organization acknowledges that particular importance and also enables each one of them. But I don't think we are sticking to 9 to 5 anymore. We go back home and we still work. We do take breaks because of some family commitments between work. I think it's mostly more about how the organizations are training people to strike that balance is what I see. Maybe it's flexible timing for few, maybe it's 9 to 5 for few, and maybe it is more support that is provided maybe more of, sometimes it is emotional support. Like, for example, how to have emotional intelligence really, trained for women and trained for men also. If being emotional is one side of the person, how to handle that emotion is also another side of the person, right? So that's where you need to really strike the balance. It's more of empowering, it's more of understanding, and it's more of co-working with each other. 9 to 5, yes, definitely. I was reading an article, it spoke about work will become an option going forward, right? Whether they want to work, they don't want to work. If that is where we are heading, then this generation will have to start working towards it,
Absolutely.
right? Because whatever we have faced, for my first son, I could never be with him. I had to leave my house at 6:30 in the morning, come back at 8:30, and I could hardly get 2 hours with him. But COVID changed a lot, like Aditi said. I could see the childhood of my kids right in front of my eyes, and then even today, I think I missed a bit of those moments with my first son when compared to my second and the third one. But the time has transitioned quite a lot in 20 years, and I think this pace is going to be a lot more fast compared to whatever the transition has happened in 20 years, considering the COVID has come. But it's the way that we all are supposed to help each other, and that's there. And also, as women, we need to kind of enable a network and be there for each other, which is what is happening now. That should change quite a lot of things.
Renuka saying the next generation needs to start working. Retirement age has been increased. So we're going to still work for a little
And
longer.
we will be working, but maybe we will also be working for the next gen also.
That's exactly what we'll end up doing than anything else. Like, yeah, she's right. But I also think it's a two-way street. It's not only the organization giving you the flexibility, even you creating that kind of comfort for the organization to trust and say, like, yeah, we'll allow you to work from home, or we'll give you flexibility. Flexibility can be taken either ways, right? So, yeah, but we'll continue to
The
work.
word is responsibility.
Responsible, exactly.
Yeah. One needs to be responsible because that cannot go for an abuse.
Absolutely. And I think we'll get there very soon.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's too far away, because the generation that's going to be in the lead soon, they understand these things. They also want work-life balance. They also want to ensure that they have enough work as well as time for themselves.
In India, at the same given point of time, there is some expectation from mothers towards their family commitments. And trust me, I do get reels where they explain it's very easy for working women and it's very tough for the homemakers. But I have also responded back saying that I'm actually handling dual roles, and it is difficult, but I do acknowledge the kind of contribution a homemaker does. But maybe you can also listen to my pain points, which you might not understand. I think that's where it is. So women has this responsibility back home of taking care of her family along with her husband, along with in-laws, and along with parents. So I have equations set across. My mom, dad will do this to me. My dad will do this to me, and my mother-in-law is going to help me with this. So that's how women are supposed to come across, and men are also supposed to come across. And there will be that balance.
Lovely, lovely. You want to add something?
I think you've got to carve your own path. I think we're on the cusp of massive change globally.
Yeah.
I think COVID changed something and a lot of businesses have regressed. But I think we're about to go on to the next massive change, and we all need to be waking up for that. I think what won't change is you need phenomenal leaders. And to your point, you need a fantastic EQ, because if not, the computer can do majority. But
absolutely,
if I was representing young women or women generally, I'd say just close out the noise, because 9 to 5 to me feels like a Dolly Parton song from the 60s when we didn't even have a computer, right? So I think the number also is the output, isn't it? And if you can get your inputs right and you can work smartly and you can deliver for businesses, then the flexibility comes. And that's it. You know, you've got to carve your own path, be the woman you want to be the man you want to be. But the output is what matters to the business and what matters to the shareholders and the P&L. So as long as you can find a way, sometimes beg for forgiveness. You know, it's easier. I think here, the business just want you to be successful at home and in your family. And however you go about that And also I would, shout out, I'm here, my partner's doing the mother stuff.
Yes.
Right? And some people go, oh my gosh, your husband, he's on his own. I'm like, this is a reality. Everyone's got to cut their cloth and their life accordingly in terms of what the impact is. But I do think we're about to change significantly again. And we need to all get prepared and ready for that.
True.
And I think this company's got the ambition to do it. So it's, it will happen.
Yeah. I think what I hear from Sarah, you want to add something here?
Not really. I think everybody's covered the points. I just think when we talk about flexibility, it all is dependent on the stage the business is in, really.
Yes.
I mean, if you're a launching startup or you're in nascency, it's very different from a very well-established business. So I think, and also within different industries, IT consultants might be much easier to have flexi time and so forth, but it might be more difficult for me as a creative person that needs to see product and be around product. So I think there's no hard and fast rule. And I think, like everybody said, it's up to the individual to either find the right career for them or the right organisation for them to be able to be happy.
Lovely. I think what I hear mostly is, doing our bit of it. There's an equality already established. You're saying your husband works for you. You say your in-laws and husband and your kids parallelly put together.
Yes.
I think the role is now shifting from being a caregiver, where Aditi pointed it right. We've been a caregivers. And I think the role is slightly shifting. We are expecting a lot of support. And I think the equality is already set in, what I could completely say in. So I think we have really eased out in the last few questions that we were ourselves completely. I think today proved something very, very important to me. Women don't need a day to celebrate. At least I need this day with you girls. That's very important for me, because we were never waiting for a permission. And I think we were just waiting for a moment to just rise. And we're already building, we're already leading, and we're already shaping the future. Not just today, every day. From the home of Zavami, thanks a lot for being here and expressing everything that you feel, because a girl going to watch this is going to take us as a role model, picking up clues as how she can become a top leader in any organization. That is what is something that I think, is very important. How did we climb here? How did we reach here? What are the struggles we had? What are the traits we had? All of that is very, very important for them to pick up clues and really grow up the ladder. Thank you so much.